target you, it's time for us to target them politically. So we're going to target them politically this morning because they got a target on your back. We're going to explain some of that this morning as we look at the beautiful American flag. Welcome, welcome. We're going to target people in public power politically this morning. They target you with violence, and we're going to return political fire, not violence, politics. So welcome, welcome. Come on board. This is the Charles Van Morgan Show. We're going to talk about fighting back. A friend of mine recently said that he had a problem with a fellow employee at work and talking about all the crazy things they did to him, targeting him, and he was doing stuff in their favor to benefit them, but they didn't care. They were targeting him. Didn't matter what he did, and he couldn't understand it. And quite frankly, I told him some good advice. Fight them back, not realistically with punches, but target them back. Counterattack. Don't take people's wrong against you. You don't have to. It's not unchristian to contest wrong against you. So our government, people in our government power right now, so it is our government, have taken the government out of the populace hands, and they are targeting us with violence, quite literally. Quite literally. So yeah, there's some fans. Thank you very much. Quite literally, they're targeting us, the mass populace Tennesseans. We far outnumber them. And thank you to all my fans, local and worldwide. And if you're my fans, you're a fan of yourself, because this channel is about you. This channel is about fighting back and not taking it. Not like they do with violence. They like to accuse me of being violent and dangerous and unhinged. And I'm the most peaceful, nonviolent representative in the history of America. I have went through their peaceful measures to accomplish legitimate goals, but they won't let me do that because they're not for violence. Excuse me. We're for violence. We're for nonviolence. They're for violence. They say they're for peace, but they're for war. They're targeting you. We are for peace, and they're for war. And we cannot achieve peaceful measures and a peaceful society with the people that are in power right now, specifically in our state government, because they're lying to you. They have a target on you. While they're saying, be still, we're for your peace, they're wanting to get a good shot at you. Literally, in some cases. Literally making it legal to shoot and kill you with a law that's being passed, signed into law by the governor, will go into effect July the 1st, making it legal for them to kill you. So they got a target on your back. They've already put it there by law. The new property law is a violent target on your back for being peaceful. And we're going to break that down for you, how they can shoot you for walking down a city sidewalk. And it's legal. All they have to do is say, proclaim from their reasonable standard that you were attempting to trespass. That's what the law says. I'm not making this stuff up. If you look at the far extreme of the law, which is technically possible, and they'll go on technicalities. They don't go on facts, and they don't care about human lives, and don't care about people. They'll go as far as the technicalities will stretch their agenda. And they wrote the technicality in the law to let them get by with shooting you wherever you're at, not even on their property, because they're going to construe it as you're trespassing on their property. You're attempting to, even though you're not even on their property yet. So as long as they're on the edge of their property with a high-powered rifle, they can shoot you not even on their property. That's the law they've just signed into effect. You're a target. They put a target on your back. With that law targets the mass populace of peaceful Tennesseans. Now they're going to kill every one of us, but ones maybe like me, and maybe other ones that they just want to get rid of for their own illegitimate purposes, they're going to target you, they're going to kill you, and stretch the technicality to as far extreme as the law will allow, and it does allow them to shoot you while they're on the edge of their property for you walking down the street in a legal place, not even trespassing, where they can construe it legally, technically, that you were attempting to trespass, even if you were not, if they can rig it to where a reasonable person at the time, not what the facts they find out later that prove you weren't, at the time prove that you were trespassing. A reasonable person would believe that you were trespassing, not even on their property, they can shoot you dead. They got a target on you. And anybody that they want to kill, all they have to do is say a reasonable person would have construed that you were attempting to trespass on their property while they're on the edge of their property with a high-powered rifle shooting you. And anything that they can put together that says that you are probably going to trespass on their property, a reasonable person would construe you were attempting to, even without you ever stepping foot on their property. And that's what the law allows. Technically, and trust me, technically, they will use that. We're technically right, so let it fly. Even if later they prove that you weren't going to trespass, the facts that they had at the time, technically, even if you weren't, a reasonable person would believe it at the time. So you're dead, and it's a good kill, even though, because it's technically legal, even though later it's proved that you had no intention to trespass on the property. But a reasonable person, their reasonable person judge that adjudicates for them is going to decide good shot, good shoot, dead. Hey, we know later what we found out, but that's not what the law says. It says at the time, and he didn't know that at the time. Didn't have to check that out. They were headed to his property with a gas can. They were going to mow their yard, but hey, or their neighbor's yard, but that doesn't matter. They thought they were going to burn down their house, burn down your house, and that is what will fly in the state of Tennessee, depending on who the person, the shooter is, and depending on who the suspect is. And they put a target on you. That's reality. That's not fake hyped up stuff. That's their law in writing. I'll show it to you. While at the same time, if you don't understand how dangerous this stuff is, how dangerous they're making this state, this nation, other candidates are talking about the weird transgender stuff and make Tennessee, Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's for public execution before somebody actually, in effect, commits a crime because somebody perceives that they're attempting to at the time, even though later proven that they weren't. It doesn't matter what the person had at the time in his little pea brain, according to their little pre-brain judge adjudicates that you are. I think that's much more important than the other candidate every day. And I'm not just a candidate. I'm speaking for the public safety of all Tennesseans fighting the government. These people are fighting for an upper seat in the House. They've already in power. It's preaching that we shouldn't take money from companies who are promoting transgender and DEA hires and agendas, that we shouldn't give them $30 million in tax breaks. And while that may be minutely important, it covers up the real issues and problems in the Tennessee and makes it sound real pretty that if you want to come to Tennessee, you got to be Tennessee. You can't change the state. Well, I think that we need to change the state. I disagree wholeheartedly. We need to change it in favor of the mass populace of people and quit letting these people target us for being in a free society and letting them kill us, and based on a technicality that they've written into law specifically to let them kill whoever the hell they want to, as long as they're at the edge of their driveway, as long as they're on their property, to shoot you, and as long as you don't have your back face to them, they can get a good shot off. As long as they can put it together legally that a reasonable person, and their reasonable person standard is their reasonable person standard. It's not the mass populace of Tennesseans' reasonable person standard. Because if it had been the mass populace of Tennesseans, reasonable person standard, they wouldn't have passed an unreasonable law that technically they could get by with killing you, a fatal incident that later they could determine that maybe they had facts at the time, but they weren't even on your property, but the technicality that they've written into law lets them off of your murder, and they walk free, depending on who it is. And that they got a target on you. They got a target on you, and it's not going to help to play with these people, talk about how great they are, and not fight harshly politically. They want to use violence. All I'm wanting to do is use political targeting to undermine and demise and demoralize these people legitimately. Legitimately, they deserve every bit of it. They deserve every bit of it. Let's see how many people got in here, quite a few. So these people are dangerous as hell, and that new law goes into effect on July the 1st, signed by the governor, so that he can stand at the edge of his multi-million-dollar farm and 7th generation Tennessean, and he'll go on to be an 8th, 9th, go ahead, and 10th generation Tennessean, because you won't come nowhere near his property, but the people walking around his farm, legitimately, legally, that he construes as attempting to trespass on his property, although they're not on his property yet, they won't have a 2nd generation or 3rd generation, because they'll be dead, because he'll kill them and he won't go to jail. He'll be able to have more children and more generations, and his children's children will be able to shoot you if they construe that you're attempting to trespass on his property, albeit not, but in the process of attempting, going to do just that, but not doing it, and later even proving that you weren't, but he had a reasonable belief at the time based on his set of facts as determined by his judge in their courtrooms that he was. So you're dead and you're paid for. Completely innocent, but that doesn't matter. Their technicality that they've written into law to benefit them, the property owners, the mass millionaires of Tennesseans, and that's all right with them. So they're violently going after you. So let's target them. And that's what we're going to do today. We got a whole list of things that we're going to demoralize, truthfully, the people in power in the state of Tennessee. Completely political speech. And if you think I'm too harsh, they want to shoot and kill you and never do a day in jail, even if they find out facts later didn't support what they thought was an attempt, but a reasonable person at the time. I mean, you get what I'm saying. You get where they're going, and I'm trying to rein them back in with peace, with politics. They don't want politics. They want you dead. They got a target on your back that could be very lethal to you, and this is your warning. And you don't have to listen. Hey, when you go to your loved one's funeral and you expect justice, and they tell you, well, there's a technicality out there that the legislature passed, your legislature, people that you voted for, you just remember that. And it's a high likelihood. Wherever you go, watch for the man with a high-powered rifle sitting at the edges of his driveway that can construe and get it approved by their dirty judges that you were attempting to trespass on his property and shoot you dead and get out of it by technicality. So let's target them, not with a high-powered rifle down the street violently, maliciously, corruptly. Let's target them peacefully with politics. Tell the truth about them. And I'm targeting them now, telling you how dirty these people are. Who in their right mind would pass a law that allows people, under the pretext of defending their property, to shoot people that haven't even arrived on their property, that put a reasonable person standard that could be, in the process of time, overturned later, that you weren't attempting to do anything wrong. And it gives a fatal consequence to you, not to them, because they're the one that owns the property, that they're allowing them to protect at whatever means they damn well please. And that's what you get. And so that's politically attacking them, pointing out what they're doing, while they don't want you to even have a vote. So we have this morning, former senator, thank the good Lord in heaven, former governor, Lamar Alexander. What a dirtbag joke that man is. He's out preaching his religion, that he's God, everybody worshiped him. He brags about walking across the state of Tennessee to win the governor's office. And it's a popular phenomenon in politics to try to make people feel sorry for you. You'll get votes if you can get public sympathy. Not any legitimate agenda that prospers and makes better the state of Tennessee, doesn't lower their cost of living, doesn't make things better for Tennesseans, the mass populace. But if you can make people feel sorry for you, the sympathy vote, I've actually heard that. People voted for certain people because they felt sorry for them. So you put out there some fake lie about how your life was endangered or a loved one died, and everybody, quite frankly, has loved ones that die. There's a 100% fatality rate. Let's feel sorry for ourselves and run for public office because we're a part of the human race. But they don't think they're a part of the human race. And their little minute problems are exaggerated. I mean, they have a friend, wife, relative, aunt, uncle, cousin, deceased. Everybody does. So let's make everybody feel sorry for us and run for office based on that. Everybody feels sorry and forget about the mass casualties on Tennessee roads put forth by their road policies. And let's forget about what we're in office for to help Tennesseans. And let's make them feel sorry for us so that they can help us. And a lot of people fall for that. So Lamar Alexander's out preaching, feel sorry for me. He says that while he was walking across Tennessee, winning the governor's race, lying to people, being a complete total fraud, did nothing for the state of Tennessee substantially to improve your lives, said that he got hit by a truck. Well, boo-hoo, I feel so sorry for him. You know, stay out of the damn road. How about that, stay out of the road? But he wants you to feel sorry. He mentions that he got hit by a truck while he was running for governor for Tennessee. Well, you shouldn't have been running for governor because you're a worthless dirtbag. And your campaign leader, topping the chain of command in your campaign was into child pornography, was arrested, and is on his way to conviction before he committed suicide. So Lamar Alexander is not a good judge of character. I want you to feel sorry for me. The reason why I mentioned him, he's got a book out now. And this isn't sometimes popular among a lot of people in the government to criticize these people that are out making buku bucks off the innocent civilian populace in the state of Tennessee. But I'm going to say it because it's true. They stick their ugly head up, put themselves out making money, lying to the populace. The truth about them needs to be known. They're not gods. They're not even very smart. Don't feel sorry for them. You should feel sorry for yourself that they were allowed to be the governor, that they got their votes by deception, that they're a complete total idiots. And now he was not only the governor of the state of Tennessee, he was a congressman. Wow, what clout he brings with him. What great stuff he has to say to present to Tennesseans. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's a dirty liar. He's out on the news today lying about stuff. He wrote a book making a lot of money. Wrote a book out advertising. He's out of politics now, so he's wanting to get rich. Writing a lying, dirty book, Lamar Alexander. And I'm not even going to say the name of the book. He doesn't mention, I don't think, in the book, somebody tell me if he does, about his top in the chain of command in his political organization was involved in child pornography. Does he admit that and say that he's not a good judge of character? He said when that happened, it came out that his top political advisor was involved in child pornography, arrested by the FBI, that he was completely, totally shocked and surprised. Well, shouldn't he have known? He hired the person. Did he not do a background check? Why does he fail to mention that in some circumstances he has some of the worst predictions of people's character that you could ever imagine. Have you ever spoken in favor of a child pornographer? Most people haven't. He's one of the few that didn't. If I were him, I'd go somewhere and hide, but he don't like people like me speaking out about his sponsorship or demonization of certain people, which he's still trying to do today. So let's look at him. He's putting a target on political candidates and also praising some political candidates wrongly and targeting some candidates wrongly. So let's put a target on him. Look at him. And I just told you he's had a political advisor, and I'll say it again, that was involved in child pornography. He said he was shocked. He shouldn't have been shocked. Should have known. So would he be shocked if some of the people...
like it is, brother.
That's right. Thank you. So you heard that. Tell it like it is. All right. We got a lot of people listen. They think I'm unpopular. Maybe what I'm saying is very popular, and they're not very popular. So that's the truth. So thank y'all so very much for watching the show. These people in power aren't on your side. They're not. They're liars. They're deceitful. They're good liars. And I am honestly for the mass populace of Tennesseans. If you're a nobody in their eyes, you're not a nobody in my eyes. This government's supposed to serve you. You ought to have as much say-so as Lamar Alexander does. In fact, you ought to have more say-so than what Lamar Alexander says. Because have you ever authorized and promoted or hired a child pornographer? And then you're out as, well, I was surprised. Well, you shouldn't have been surprised. But he's out sticking his head up in politics, making money. So he wants to do that. Hey, nobody's out telling the other side. What about the other side? Is there another side? Well, hell yes. There's always two sides to things. There's their side that they exploit on every news channel. He's been interviewed all across America. Big old hero. And he got hit by a truck. Feel sorry for me. Stay out of the road, Lamar Alexander. Don't hire pedophiles, Lamar Alexander. So, and he deserves it. He deserves it. This side never comes out about these people. They're glorified. He's got a road named after him. Worried about his legacy. Let me put a little dent in his legacy. He's a human being, not even a very good human being. If you ask me, that's the other side. That's what I think. I'm not making millions of dollars selling a book. I'm trying to protect the public from their facade. He stands up selling a book in every news channel in Knoxville. National news channels picking him up, interviewing him about his book, making a lot of money. Running down political candidates that are trying to do the right thing. They're in power now. Close to, I would say, treason, what he's doing. Close to treason. Because even if Joe Biden's in office, we should hope that he does well for the good of the country, for the good of the country, for the flag that I just showed you this morning. If we got voted out for whatever reason and somebody's in power, even due to election interference, then we need to stomach it as far as possible, vote them out the next time, but stand up for whatever they do good for the good of the country. Promote America, American agenda, because that's good for us, our families, and our children. I'm American, and that's the agenda that I believe in. And they believe in their own agenda, in selling books, making a name for themselves, and forcing on you what they personally believe, which is not true. They're not a good judge of people's character. They just claim they are. So he's out selling a book and sticking his head up in politics. So we'll take a political shot at him, because he's taking a political shot at America, if you ask me, at good God-fearing patriotic Americans all across the United States of America. I know I walked across Tennessee too. I stay out of the road. I didn't get hit by a truck. And don't boo-hoo me. I'm just fine. I'm fighting back. He's lying back's what he's doing. So, wow, almost 300 people in here. Thank y'all for showing up. So Lamar Alexander, the big hero, I mean, he's a hero in the news media. And the news media won't even let me come on some of their property. I texted them the other day, put out a message of their unfair treatment because they're promoting somebody who promoted violence. And my procedure posture in the court of law is the same as theirs, but I'm not for peace. I'm not for war, I'm for peace. So that's not as inflammatory. a peaceful fight to practice law in a courtroom to fight for you is not inflammatory. That's mainstream that the mass populace in Tennesseans understand. You don't have to feel sorry for me. I know how to fight back. I'm doing pretty well, thank you very much. And they're not doing so well. So he's out talking about, in his book, making a big deal about January 6th. Those patriotic Americans protested at the Capitol. Hundreds of thousands of people peacefully protested at the Capitol. And he's saying that that was a dangerous time in America, that the peaceful transfer of power is so awfully important. And Donald J. Trump, who's sitting in the White House now, that we need to show respect for the office and not talk about something that happened an election ago, because he's duly elected now, is trying to minimize this country and say that our president is not for the peaceful transfer of power. Let me tell you something, Mr. Lamar Alexander. You're not a good judge of character. And we have a president in office now. That happened elections ago. You should stand up for the sovereignty and the goodwill of Americans, but you don't care about the goodwill of Americans because you're doing just fine out selling the book, inflammatory, running down peaceful Americans that under the authority of the president say go down to the Capitol and peacefully protest. But you leave that out and say he challenged authority and trying to make a mess of our organized society, what little bit is left, so that you can inflame people that you're on the right side of history and against our president right now and damaging our country is what he's doing. He's damaging our country. I would say that, I would say that if Joe Biden were in office. Now, when he did horrific stuff like had soldiers get killed by the pullout of Afghanistan, now I thought that he should have done better. But I encouraged him to do better, not to destroy his presidency and thereby destroying the United States of America by talking about something that he did years before. So right now, right here today, Mr. Lamar Alexander, the great Tennessean, who, let's feel sorry, boo-hoo, about he got hit by a truck. You know, I'm not going to say what they'll say. If I got hit by a truck and got killed, they'd say it's good. It's a better world without Van. That's what they'll say. I'm not going to even say that about Lamar Alexander. The people that he's fighting for would say that about me. They got a target on me. They got a target on you. There's nothing wrong. They got a violent target on you. Let's get it right. Violent target. They want you dead. They want you dead. Even if you are on their side, they don't care. They'll still hang you out. How deceptive these people are. So he's talking about the January 6th protesters. And millions of them were peaceful people. And even the ones that went in the Capitol were escorted by a lot of police officers. And the whole world has exploited patriotism. And even a protester that was in the military, previously served this country, was murdered, one of the protesters. But Lamar Alexander never served a day in the damn military. Wants to jeopardize the United States of America and run down our sitting president about something that happened years and years ago that has no effect on what he's doing now. Detract from a positive agenda. And if he were running for public office today, in order to win hearts and minds, he would lie to you and say that he was for the president, specifically in the state of Tennessee. Because in Tennessee, in order to get elected, you have to act like Donald Trump is for you. All the candidates in Tennessee have endorsed, have claimed substantial endorsement from Donald J. Trump. So politically, it is correct to, whether or not you're for him or not, to endorse Mr. Trump. And Lamar Alexander, I would think that if he were running for public office right now, he would be for Mr. Donald J. Trump, because he's not running for office and he wants to be inflammatory, sell books, and be against America, he is out saying that Donald J. Trump did not relent and succumb to what he alleges was a peaceful transfer of power. Well, Mr. Joe Biden did take power, so there evidently was a peaceful transfer of power to contest elections legitimately through the court system, through publicly disagreeing with them, is his right to do that. The president had a right to do that. They want to take away dissent. You don't have a right to disagree with them. While they make laws to kill you violently, you can't say, I disagree with the 2020 election. I believe that there was a lot of fraud involved. You're not allowed to say that. If you say that, you're not for the peaceful transfer of power. No, they're not for the peaceful transfer of power, because I have a right to think that if I want to think that. Now, I don't know. I know there's a lot of discrepancies in the election because of COVID. That is a fact. People that run that line of thinking say there was no discrepancies in the election. That's not true. That is an impossibility, your position, because there was, in fact, some false votes that admit. So to say there was no discrepancies defeats their own record. There was. Whether there was enough is what is in debate, enough to overturn the election. I don't know. But there is nothing, absolutely positively nothing wrong with the president objecting to the certification of the election and saying that he believes that the election was fraudulent, that he should have won. That's freedom of speech. He's allowed to say that. If they take away a president's right to dissent peacefully, and it was peacefully, he said peacefully. He's not responsible for what everybody in the whole world does. He's got a duty and obligation to speak up. If he's too much of a coward to speak up for himself, you think he's going to be able to speak up for the country? Even if he's wrong, he's got a right to stand up and say that he disagrees. Mr. Lamar Alexander wants to quell dissent. You have to agree with everything he says or he'll demoralize you. Well, he's demoralized himself. Look at his hiring procedures. Hired a pedophile. He hired a pedophile and wants to run down the president. Yeah. Listen to what these people that try to shut us up, how they are. Let's put a target on them. Let's look at their life, their history, what they've done in their past. Maybe they're dirtbag pieces of dung, and they don't want us to do that. They don't want us to target them, but they want to get out and sell books and target America, which is what he's doing, and sell you a dirty lie, because if you don't think the election was fair, you got a right to say that. Many Tennesseans don't. And if you'll notice, wow, 400 people in here. Thank y'all so much. If you'll notice, many of the people in Tennessee, I've talked to them, believe that the election was fraudulent. That's what they believe. Let's go charge them with a crime, a thought crime. That's what I guess Lamar Alexander want you to do that, while at the same time he had a pedophile that was helping him get elected. But let's don't talk about that. Did you write a chapter on that in your book, Lamar? Or you want to talk about patriotic Americans that speak up? You got a right to speak up even if you're wrong. That's American way. It's called the marketplace of ideals. I'm all for it. People don't disagree with me, speak up about it. It ain't gonna hurt me. I won't have you arrested. I won't shoot you while you're down the street alleging you're trespassing on my property. I am for peace. They're for war. They just made a law to kill you. And Lamar Alexander is telling you shut up about that law. Don't you say a word about it, a damn word about it. You come near my property, symbolically I'll stand on the edge with a high-powered rifle and shoot you down. And if I can get a court to believe, a reasonable person would have thought that you were trespassing, even if my family provides evidence of the fact later that you were not a reasonable person at the time, it's a good kill. You're dead, thank you very much. Bye, next. But I'm Lamar Alexander, I'm for peace, I got hit by a truck. Lamar Alexander, go hide. Because every time you stick your head up, I'm gonna remind people about your pedophilia, political campaign that your top leader in your campaign was involved in child pornography, arrested by the FBI with evidence, and you were shocked about it. You should have known, but you know everything about January 6th. Were you there? Arguing about the peaceful transfer of power, saying that dissent hinders the peaceful transfer of power. No. Lack of dissent hinders the peaceful transfer of power because it's only one-sided. A fair United States of America allows both sides to get out there. But he don't want that, and neither do they. They don't want me to tell you about their targeting you. July 1st, every Tennessean has a target on their back. Reasonable person standard. In their courtroom, the third judge adjudicates whether or not it's a reasonable person standard that gets elected to uphold their reasonable person standard and dismiss a case before it even goes before the citizenry. They got a target on your back. They want to kill you. And they damn sure will. They will. This is serious business. This is dangerous in America with these rogue people in power right now. They won't tell you that. What they'll tell you is that Lamar Alexander feels sorry for me. He got hit by a truck and he wants the peaceful transfer of power. That's what he's all about. While he's making money off his stupid book for himself, got his legacy and a road named after him. Wow, his name will go on years from now, generations from now. People will see his name. He must have been a good governor. Must have been a great, he worried about his legacy. And let's not run him down. That's not Christian to tell the truth. It's not Christian to disagree with people. Let them shoot you or your friends in the head dead with a high-powered scope at the edge of their property, as long as they don't do it while you're walking from behind. And that's all right. That's well, good, and fine. Let's be Christian. Let them do that. I mean, after all, we got a Christian governor that signed that bill to protect his property. He's got 7th generation Tennessean. He'll have 8, 9, and 10, but you won't have any because you'll be dead. You can't have children. That's what kind of government they want. They don't want to tell you that. But I tell you that, it's wrong to kill people. God has laws too. Don't murder people. And rig it up in your legal system to where it's legitimate based on a technicality when it damn sure isn't. All throughout the history of America, shooting someone in the civilized era for nonviolent crimes, property crimes, is unlawful. You're guilty of murder if you kill somebody over them stealing your property. Property is not the value of human life. And I mean, let them have your damn bicycle before you shoot them over it. Try to follow them and take it from them physically. Grab your damn bicycle back. If they try to kill you, that changes it. But you can't shoot somebody for carrying a gas can, you shouldn't be able to, down the road, to mow somebody's yard when you're saying they were bringing the gas can down the road to come on my property and burn my house down. So I shot them with a high-powered scope before they even got close, and it was reasonable for me to believe that. And your paid-off judge, and we're going to show you some stuff. Your paid-off judge adjudicated that was reasonable. And they get off on a technicality, and everybody knows it's dirty, but it's too late. It's the law. July the 1st, a target to kill you coming up. And they're getting by with this one. They're going to get by with a lot more. It doesn't represent what the mass populace of Tennesseans believe. The mass populace of Tennesseans, I believe in peace and freedom and safety, and we far outnumber these people. That's why they're afraid of me. They're very afraid of me. I go into some of these public offices with a lot of these highfalutin people for business. I'm not one of these First Amendment podcasters. If somebody asks me not to film them, unless they make me mad and they're going off on me where I can film the evidence, I won't film them. I ask people, is it all right if I film you? If they say, no, I don't. I'm very respectful of people's privacy, even if it's legal for me to film them. I won't do it if they ask me not to. Like I said, unless they do something where I need to. I'm respectful of people. I'm not going out here trying to stir up trouble with people that don't want to be recorded. I wouldn't do that. If you don't want me to record you, tell me. Say I don't want to be recorded, please, and I won't. I absolutely won't. Now, if you start cussing me, I'll probably film your cussing me, show you what kind of lowlife you are. But I'm not out here filming people unjustifiably or being a rogue person. I'm for peace and safety and for the rights of the mass populace of Tennesseans. I go in these government offices and these people know me by name, and I don't even know their name, some of them. How you doing, Van? Hello. And it's not because I'm trying to make a name for myself. It's because they know that I'm standing up against the power of the rogue people in the state of Tennessee. Now, when they do something good, I'll call it out. But I don't get to do that very often because it rarely ever happens. I can't think of anything good that Lamar Alexander did. And for him to stick his ugly head up and conduct what I construe as treasonous behavior against America by complaining about something our president did election ago that has no bearing on today, that's not even true, that's counterproductive, trying to quell dissent, then I got a problem with that. Now, he can sell all the damn books he wants to. I wouldn't read one of them, wouldn't buy one of them. Don't even know what the name is, not gonna call it out. He's running around running our president down. I wouldn't care if it's Joe Biden. Speak in favor of the prosperity of the United States of America for yourself and your children. The whole world is watching him. He's literally saying to Russia, China, and some of these people, these countries that don't have peaceful dissent, don't allow it, that America shouldn't either. And America's a rogue nation because we don't have the peaceful transfer of power. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have people that speak their mind, that protest legitimately, and they should do it. Keep doing it. Don't let Lamar Alexander quell you and stop you from speaking truth to power. He's wrong. He's a crooked, corrupt man out making money right now, sticking his head up, so I'll chop it off politically. Now, he's all for chopping it off technically. They write these technicalities into law where they can kill you and get by with it. It's not really justified, but technically it is, so good kill. And that's what they'll call it, a good kill. And I hate that happen. It's not morally right, not justified, but technically they walk out the door. Because your legislators that he praised helped get into power wrote those laws for him to protect his power and to protect their agenda and to kill dissent. That's what that dirtbag's doing. So he praised on the House floor another political candidate that lives in an area where there is a neo-Nazi white supremacist group of people, and they do vote. So if you win in his area, you damn well better not speak out against neo-Nazi white supremacist people if you want to vote in that area, because there's a lot of white supremacists in Monroe County and Greenback, and in those areas there's a lot of racist people. I hate to say that, but that's true. You shouldn't be racist. And also a lot of anti-Semitic people against Israel. So if you want to win in those areas, then you back up dirt, people that are pieces of dung, that have a huge say in our government, leading it the wrong way. And Lamar Alexander praised somebody that's from an area in Tennessee that he should criticize, that he shouldn't speak highly of. Ryan Lowell Russell is a state representative from Monroe County. They have a neo-Nazi compound in that area where they are anti-Semitic and a white supremacist racist group. So if you cater to those people, you get elected. You shouldn't cater to those people. If you don't get elected because you don't cater to those people, So be it. Don't be a neo-Nazi or a racist. Be an unemployed politician. There's nothing wrong with being an unemployed politician. Maybe you stand for the right things. The area that you're in is rogue and needs to have an attitude adjustment. So I'd never get elected in Monroe County. I have some people there that detest me pretty bad. Good, that's all right. It's good for some people to hate your guts because what they're putting out is dirty lies. So Lamar Alexander, as you look at the beautiful view, Lamar Alexander praised Lionel Russell on the Tennessee House floor. And on the House floor, you can lie about stuff, and it's privileged. Defamation is unprivileged false communication disseminated to at least a third person that tends to lower people in the standing of the community. Falsely, it's not true. And on the House floor, what you say is privileged information. They're supposed to be able to allow for public debate and to say things freely without being sued for defamation. So they have exempted defamation on the House floor. So Lamar Alexander could get on the House floor and say any damn lie, hopefully you can hear me, that he wants to say on the House floor. He could have got on the House floor and lied about Lionel Russell. He could have said his pedophile political advisor was a great man, although it's probably not true. Or he could have ran down me on the House floor, and it wouldn't have mattered because I can't sue somebody for defamation. You can't either. He could have ran you down on the House floor, wrongly destroyed your reputation all across the state of Tennessee. Being on the House floor, it is privileged because they can defame you on the House floor. They've exempted themselves. So he gets on the House floor and praises Lionel Russell. Now, praising Lionel Russell might sound good, but what if Lionel Russell lied about somebody else and you're giving added authority to his lie by bolstering his credibility when he's a dirtbag liar? What if you get people on the House floor and you bolster their credibility that have lied about other people, so it makes their lies seem more legitimate, which is what Lamar Alexander did. Because Lamar Alexander got on the House floor when Lionel Russell hurt himself being an idiot in a wreck. He's supposed to be the highest trained professional in the state, the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Got himself in a wreck where he wasn't paying attention and hurt himself. So everybody feels sorry for him, and Lamar Alexander praised him for his service. Lionel Russell did not serve Tennesseans. He caused you and your family members to get dead, to get killed. He's one in power now, responsible for the laws that they pass by proxy or voting for it. About they can shoot you while you're on public property. Right now, July the 1st, they'll be able to do that. Right now, almost immediately. In the next few days, they can shoot you on public property. As long as they're on their property and they don't shoot you in the back. The free to kill bill, free to kill political dissenters bill is what it is. And they'll rig it, technically, get away with violence, while all I'm doing is telling the truth about them. And it's not my fault that the truth happens to be not very pretty about them, happens to be demeaning of them. It's demeaning truth. It's not defamation because it's true. So he praised Lionel Russell on the House floor. Lionel Russell is responsible for thousands of Tennesseans being dead on Tennessee roadways. Not praiseworthy. Not praiseworthy at all. So you see how they do. And Lamar Alexander criticizes our sitting president. Why? Because the sitting president probably doesn't praise Lamar Alexander, so it's all about him. So I wouldn't buy his damn book. If somebody does, tell me if there's a chapter in his book about his pedophile top-in-command political campaign advisor. Did he mention that on the House floor when he was bragging on somebody that got Tennesseans killed? So this is political speech. I'm involved in truthful political speech. You're watching Charles Van Morgan Unbridled News. They're involved in violence and writing technicalities into the law where they can kill political dissenters. That's the truthful story, and they want to waterboard me out of it, but I'm not going to refuse. I'm going to refuse to agree with them. Now, if they come in line with helping the mass populous Tennesseans, then I'll go along with what they say. So we got a lot of stuff. We're getting to our signature location, and we're going to demoralize these sorry, pathetic dirtbags that they are. They're worthless, a leech and a drain on society. I don't know of anything that you can say good about them, except for maybe the fact that someday, hopefully, I know 100% they'll die of natural causes. It'll be a good thing. Now, I'm not going to kill them or promoting their death, but when they're no longer on the planet because of dying of natural causes, I hope, I don't wish their violent death, they wish my violent death, then it'll be a better world, and some of them have already died. God works in mysterious ways and judges people on the earth that stand up for crookedness. And all the foundations of the world are out of course. That's biblical. So if you're a Christian in a church and you think that I'm doing wrong, I'm just telling you what the God's holy word says, not to face it. You're lying to your damn stupid self. It's a wicked, corrupt world, and the only way we're going to get it better is to call it out for what it is. If you go along, then what stake do you have in it? You are an idiot. So like, share, comment, subscribe, and contribute if you can. And we will put out the truth about stuff. So we got some really good stuff to talk about today. Talk about some stuff going on in the news. And somebody stopped and gave me this umbrella several weeks ago, so we're prepared if it rains. Thank you very much. And what I'm saying is very popular. This is for the mass populous Tennesseans. It's not popular to people in power, to the fake news media, but it's popular to a lot of Tennesseans. So hang on with me. We're going to cover some stuff that's in the news today. Explicate it. A real fancy word for explaining it. So, if you're headed out today, it's hot and humid. So, we have in the news today Mr. J.D. Vance, a warning to Israel leaders, saying that Donald J. Trump is the only head of the state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel. And maybe at this time that could change, though. Sharply criticizing Israel, accusing it of blocking the agreement signed between Washington and Tehran on June 17th. The U.S. Vice President exposed a lasting rift between the two countries. So, J.D. Vance is out right now in all his high super intelligence at his very young age, which he's already admitted that he was wrong in standing against Mr. Trump in the previous election, but now since he's been offered power, he goes along with the program. So he's a very political animal. Hasn't ever showed his independence, and while he should back the president, he should also back the nation of Israel and stop lying to the country. Now, I appreciate the Trump administration, and I'm behind Donald Trump, but he misrepresents Mr. Trump's agenda because he's wanting to get a peace agreement with Iran. So, let me be clear. Mr. J.D. Vance is wrong about the nation of Israel. Now, the president's not. The president's trying to get a peace agreement, hoping that he can trust in J.D. Vance to get it across the finish line. J.D. Vance has of yet been able to do that, so he's trying to blame it on the nation of Israel. So what happened is they have this memorandum of understanding with Iran, not Israel, not Israel. They're not privy to that memorandum of understanding. They're not in that agreement. We have no right to control what the nation of Israel does to protect itself. So we had that memorandum of understanding, and Israel attacked Lebanon on June the 19th, 2026. And J.D. Vance is saying that they shouldn't have done that. They're putting the memorandum of understanding, the attempt at peace with Iran, at stake because they attacked Lebanon on June the 19th after the memorandum of understanding was signed. So J.D. Vance is criticizing Israel because Israel said it was going to close the Straits of Hormuz because America violated that agreement. We didn't violate that agreement. That has little to nothing to do with Israel. They didn't sign the agreement. So he's criticizing Israel for striking Lebanon after that memorandum of understanding has been signed. Failing to mention, it's all over the news channels. It's all over the news channels, but they're failing to mention the reason, let's make sure this is on, the reason that Israel launched a strike against Lebanon after the memorandum of understanding was signed. Nobody mentions this. You watch on all the news media. They talk about J.D. Vance trying to get a peace agreement with Iran, which is a good thing. Give peace a chance. The person that wrote that song was atheist, but we'll go along and give peace a chance. You get peace through power, through strength, not through pressure to negotiate an agreement because of the economy. So, after the memorandum of understanding was signed, Israel struck Lebanon. So the whole world is blaming Israel because Iran is saying America violated that agreement. So we're going to close the Straits of Hormuz, which will cause gas prices to go up in the United States. Blaming Israel for that. It is not very well known and publicized, and I'm going to publicize it. I'm going to publicize it right now, right here. Israel, and go against J.D. Vance because he needs to be careful what he's doing. And J.D. Vance is not speaking against me, and there's still time for me to correct his behavior. But I'm not going to stand here and agree with what he's doing. Israel launched a massive retaliatory strike against airstrike in Lebanon after the memorandum of understanding was signed that they're not privy to. They didn't sign that memorandum of understanding. They did not do it as alleged to undermine a potential peace agreement. Israel struck Lebanon because 4 of its soldiers were killed. They struck Lebanon, not to undermine peace. That's what the news media is saying to try to get people to be anti-Semitic. And J.D. Vance is falling right in line. J.D. Vance, I'd be very careful what I was doing in saying that. And this is not something that happened years ago in a previous election. This is something going on today. God bless America. God's not going to bless America substantially when you're telling white lies about the nation of Israel. Israel has a right to protect their soldiers and retaliate for 4 of their soldiers killed. 4 soldiers killed. So they didn't retaliate against Hezbollah to undermine a peace agreement. They did that because 4 of their soldiers were killed. That's not publicized. Those hostilities directly disputed and postponed the highly anticipated peace negotiations tied to the newly signed U.S.-Iran Memorandum of Understanding. But it was not to undermine it. It was because they had 4 soldiers killed. They were retaliating for the death of their soldiers. The chain of events. The ambush on June 19, 2026, Hezbollah fighters carried out an ambush attack, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, near the Ala Tara Hill in southern Lebanon, killing 4 Israeli soldiers, including a lieutenant colonel. So the memorandum of understanding was signed, then Hezbollah killed 4 Israeli soldiers. In an immediate response, the Israeli military executed over 100 airstrikes targeting Hezbollah facilities in the Bekaa Valley and Nablus, killing at least 47 people, according to the Lebanese health authorities. So the reason that Israel conducted the strikes against Hezbollah was because they killed 4 soldiers, not to undermine the peace agreement. Now, they have a right to defend their soldiers and their country. They're not doing anything wrong, not trying to undermine anything. And America has no right to tell Israel, you can't defend your soldiers. The political reaction, Israel headline ministers fiercely defended the retaliation, which is not what they're putting out in American media. The defense of the retaliation. American media is saying that Israel's doing that to stop a peace agreement, which is not true. It's not true. It's a lie about Israel. And J.D. Vance is trying to get his peace agreement so that he can look good on the world stage and lying about the nation of Israel, not telling the whole truth. That's very dangerous, Mr. J.D. Vance. I'd be very careful about it. Don't worry about Van Morgan. I'd be worrying about God Almighty. That's a protected country. I'm not just saying that. God protects the nation of Israel. He will. I wouldn't do that. I'm not doing that now. God bless America and God bless the nation of Israel. Tell it like it is. Israel has a right to defend herself. If that interferes with the American peace agreement, maybe America needs to grow some and fight Iran, not the nation of Israel. Protect America against Iran. Israel is not the problem. They got a right to defend themselves. How would you feel if 4 American soldiers had been killed and America defended the soldiers and we blamed Israel because they didn't like our defense of our soldiers? Well, that'd make you pretty angry, and Israel's handling it pretty well. They're just defending the retaliation. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir said, well, all due respect to the Americans, which we're not. J.D. Vance is not showing a lot of respect for them, which, don't worry about me, J.D. I'm just telling you what God says. And I know what God says. He spelled it out very clearly. I don't have to wonder about it. Maybe you claim to be a Christian. Maybe you need to read your faith. Maybe you don't really have faith. Maybe it's about political power and rigging a great agreement that you're the savior of the world and all your great age, that you have full knowledge. A leader depends on what he does when he's under pressure, not when he folds. What he really believes, he'll show you. So J.D. Vance is trying to hang out the nation of Israel. I'm not. Israel had a right to the retaliatory strikes. We have no right to intervene in how they do that. They're a sovereign country. While we might be their best friend, that don't mean it is continuing, and it's not, and I'm against that. So, their minister said, with all due respect to the Americans, and J.D. Vance didn't say with all due respect toward Israel, did he? Well, you're messing on some sacred ground, J.D. You better back up real fast. You don't represent me when you're saying that. Israel must make it clear to the entire world that our sons' blood and our citizens' security are not up for abandonment. I'll be very careful, J.D. Israel's got a right to defend himself. And I'm not anti-American. America's got a right to defend itself. America's problem is not with Israel, it's with Iran. Get it right. Quit politicking the real threat. If it's necessary, go over there and make sure Iran, the leaders that won't seek to annihilate Israel are annihilated. If you can't do the job, then let's get somebody in there that can do it. Because if I were vice president, I would be recommending to the president who's getting some bad advice, let's go over there and finish this stuff off, take care of business, get it done. It won't take that much longer. That's what I would do. I would not stand on sacred ground and criticize the nation of Israel. That's dangerous. And I'm just giving J.D. Vance a little friendly advice. You hide and watch, J.D. God's word is not in vain. It's the real thing. And I know a lot of people disagree. I don't care. You disagree with God. I'm just telling you what it says. Hezbollah's hostility towards Israel is driven by its ideological commitment to the destruction of the Israel state, the legacy of Israel's historical military presence in southern Lebanon, and its role as an Iranian proxy aligned with broader geological and religious objective in the Middle East. Iran is wrong. Hezbollah is wrong. Israel is not wrong. They've got a right to exist. We have no right to facilitate the lies of Iran and kowtow to their illegitimate demands. Donald Trump said in a tweet, Iran must stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. So he's calling it like it is. He's not saying Israel should not defend their soldiers, because Israel stand up for Israel's soldiers. I don't blame them. That's the right thing to do. And they had a right to retaliate. Somebody punches me, I don't care what you say about it, I'm gonna fight back. You can say, oh, that dirty van, whatever. Well, you can call me dirty, whatever. Whoever attacks me is gonna get fought back. It's gonna go down. I could care less what you think about it. And I might say, with all due respect, I had a right to do that. And I'll still do it. Israel's still going to do it. Trump said, Iran must immediately stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we'll hit Iran very hard again, just like we did last week, only harder. President Donald J. Trump. So Donald Trump, the president's got it right. He's got it right. So he's getting some bad advice from a young whippersnapper that don't know what the hell he's talking about, that says he's a Christian, but doesn't read what it says in the holy book of God. Donald Trump's got it right. Don't attack Israel. Attack Iran, the people that are responsible for this. So here's what Vance Stark warning to Israel leaders. Vance Stark warning to Israel leaders. I wouldn't be warning Israel, sharply criticizing Israel. That's not very smart, Mr. J.D. Vance. That's not very smart. And let me read you the powerful message from Israel launched a retaliatory airstrike on June after 4 of its soldiers were killed. And that's why they retaliated with 100 airstrikes. And Israel's being respectful to America. Hezbollah is hostile towards Israel. So J.D. Vance has got it wrong. I hope he corrects his ways and stops running down the nation of Israel. Because in God's holy word, it says, I will bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. In effect, that's cursing the nation of Israel, which is wrong. So let's look at and we're going to target them. A campaign worker rang a doorbell and a gun was pointed at his face in 2011. House Bill 779, Representative Tommy Brown said that we should protect canvassers. So they tried to pass a bill in 2011 to protect political canvassers that have a right under the federal constitution to walk on people's property between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. without a no trespassing sign visible that they saw, knock on their door and give them a political message, whatever that may be, protected under the First Amendment. They had people, and I've had trouble with people acting violently because they don't understand the Constitution and they think if you walk on their property that you're trespassing. And no, you're not. You can put a fence around your property, lock it, put no trespassing signs. Warn people when they come on your property to get off your property. You don't want political messages. There's numerous ways, because political messages are protected by the First Amendment. They can come on your property and offer you political messages. A lot of people want those political messages. But a lot all across America, political campaigners are attacked and violently abused. So there was a bill attempted to be passed in state Tennessee to protect people who are peacefully passing out political messages. Because campaigns without a lot of money, that's how they have to get a message across. If you can't afford to buy a lot of TV time, the cheapest and easiest way is to print out a message, walk up on people's property, knock on the door, and offer them the message that you have to give them against your opponent, who's maybe a millionaire and doesn't have to walk on people's property because they're putting out TV commercials or YouTube ads, or they're paying other people to do it for them. Their life's not in danger. But people like me have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to earn it. And a lot of times we get attacked and lied on, get stopped by law enforcement illegitimately. So they tried to pass a bill to protect political campaigning, which they should have passed one. Senate Bill 2030, but Senator Opla Ford backed it. The legislature's answer in Tennessee, and not protecting political canvassers, perfectly peaceful people, and a lot of people want the message. They know they can't get it anywhere else. When you walk up to the door and you say you're running for public office, or you're supporting somebody running for public office, you want to know if they want a flyer about your candidate or against the present administration. They know they might not be able to get it anywhere else, and they want to look at it and be able to consider it, even if they don't agree with it. A lot of them say, yes, thank you, and they take it. They want it. A lot of them, if you don't offer, they'll ask you for if you got some political material if you're on the internet. So people want it. If they don't want it, they can simply say, please leave my property, or get off my property, or they can cuss you even, get the hell off my property. And you have to leave immediately. You don't have to hurt yourself getting off the property, you have to leave. But a lot of people will try to chase you down their property. They have no right to do that. You're leaving. Your Supreme Court law says you can do that. So a lot of people try to attack political campaigners. And one person that don't want you on their property and tells you not to be on their property, so you leave their property, you're no longer on the property, will call the police, and you're out talking to somebody that wants you on their property and appreciate you coming to their house. People tell you, we appreciate you coming by. Another candidates don't. And you're talking to them, and the police come up and detain you because somebody else wanted you arrested because they don't want your information. When you're giving out your information to hundreds of people, so that one person wants to control what 100 people get, and law enforcement's all for it. They love it because they don't like your message, because it speaks against them, and they don't want anything being said bad about them, even if it's true. Well, that's not the American way. We let all sides out there, and the truth should rise to the top. But if the other side, our side, don't get out, it doesn't rise to the top. So they tried to pass a law to protect political canvassers. And the legislature said they'd study it, and they shelved it. Now they have a target on your back. That's how they got a target on you, a violent target. We're targeting them politically, not anything violent. Saying, here's a message about the governor. He promised this stuff. He's not delivering. Here's what he didn't do. Here's a picture of him in a dress. That's information we should be allowed to give him. He don't want us giving that out. So he'll pass laws where they can kill you, which is what they're doing. We're passing out a peaceful political message of the truth about him. The truth about his brand of Christianity, which he's sold out to power. It's what he's done. He's a creep. He's a transvestite. Look at his dress. Now he says that's conflating it. Well, I've got a right to conflate it. You're in politics. That's how you do. You conflate stuff if you want to. You deconflate it. You got a right to speak out against me, but he don't want our side out there. He just wants his deflation out there. And nothing to do. You deflate, then he gets a free ride, don't he? Well, I'm not giving him a free ride. So yeah, almost 150 people in here. Like, share, contribute if you can. Help us get this message out. So they got a target on your back. So they're allowing people to target us, because this is the only way we can pass out a peaceful message. And they won't protect a peaceful message, because they tried to pass a law in the legislature to have police presence when people are out politicking, when they're out giving people information, to make sure that there's no violence by the people politicking or by the people against the politicians, against the canvassers. Which politics, if you don't realize, is highly volatile, highly controversial, subject to some people violence, losing their head. So police presence would be a good ideal. If police presence is out to deter violence, it's out to deter violence sometimes just on one side, the people in power side. They don't care if you get killed, and they pass laws to make it more likely that you do, and we're going to show you. So they tried to pass that law, couldn't get it passed, to protect political canvassers. Couldn't get it passed. As you look at my office here, the wonderful, beautiful World's Fair site, this keeps me from going in the nasty, stinchy courtroom that they won't let me go in. So there are situations which a person may be justified in threatening to use force, but protection of property is not one of them. It's not. Because people's lives, even if they're a thief, is more valuable than your damn bicycle. You shouldn't be able to shoot somebody for stealing your bicycle. You should be able to physically go after it and get it and knock them off your bicycle and take your bicycle back and then have them arrested. But you shouldn't be able to go up and walk to them and shoot them for taking your bicycle. You shouldn't be able to shoot somebody for stepping on your property. That's not moral. Deadly force is never justified solely to protect property. The prohibition against using deadly force to protect property is explicit in the law. Until now. Because of political campaigning. They don't want us to get the other side out. That's how we do it. So they've made it likely for us to get killed. 2026, same legislature, different priority. They don't have to knock on doors. They do, but they don't do it themselves. They pay other people, and they don't care if their political paid employees get killed. They'll hire another one, got plenty of money. If you're a campaign like mine, or wanting to put out a political message, or wanting to put out news information to protect society from one-sided message, then the way you do it is you do it physically, the old-fashioned way. You walk up to their door and offer them the information. If they don't want it, you leave immediately. That's protected constitutional law. They've made it easy to kill you for being peaceful, politically peaceful. They put a violent target on our back. That's what they've done in the legislature. 2026, same legislature, different priority. The priority is stopping political dissent. That's what they're doing in this country. Right now, we'll call it out like it is. This is the side you won't hear anywhere else. Subscribe to the channel, share and like. We'll tell you what they're doing. I know what I'm talking about. I have a law degree. This is what they're doing, and how it will play out in effect is the other side will never get out, because people will be dead in the street, maybe with campaign flyers in their hand that get quickly scraped up and thrown in the garbage that should have went to a residence, that the one before they got to you was shot, the other resident shot and killed them because they're for the sitting governor, because they give them a great job. So H.Bill 1802, Representative Capley, signed by Bill Lee, of course he signed it, while he's at the end of his driveway with a high-powered scope waiting for me to walk down the road. So he can say I was attempting to trespass on his property, albeit I never walked on his property. I'm just saying, imagine that could happen, and it could. They have already done that to me. I was out passing out religious Christian material that was knocked all over the ground where I was falsely arrested. This is an attempt to stop any type of message that the government doesn't want you to pass out, even Christian message. So churches, if you believe this is right, don't go spreading the gospel physically to people's houses anymore. You might get shot. This is how they'll use this law to stop the gospel from being spread from an alleged Christian governor who just signed that law because he doesn't worship God, he worships money. I don't know his heart, but I'm just telling you, we know by his fruits. His fruits are a road law that's going to stop people from knocking on people's doors because you might get killed. And by technicality, they get out of it. Or if you're politically campaigning, telling the truth about this road law, you might get dead. If I'm literally passing out a flyer in opposition to a law that they have just wrote, legally, politically campaigning, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., walking on people's property that doesn't have a no trespassing sign, that the literature want to know the other side, that won't get it anywhere else, because I don't have the money to mass put it out on television. I have to do it the old-fashioned way, hand it to people individually or have other people do it. I could literally get shot for doing that. And based on the technicality, get out of it so people won't do this other side. It's a deterrent to political speech. It's a deterrent to spreading the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. If you think I'm joking, wait till the body count comes up, and they're doing it as a deterrent. A person is justified in using deadly force against another when, to the degree the person reasonably believes deadly force is immediately necessary to prevent or terminate the other actual or attempted trespass. Here's where they get you. Attempted trespass. Attempted trespass. Attempt means that they haven't done it yet. They're in the process of attempting to. In the person's possibly pea-brain mind all across the state of Tennessee, not adjudicated in it into law, attempted in their mind at the time. So here's what happens. A person is justified, here's law, in using deadly force against another when, and to the degree the person reasonably believes deadly force is immediately, not after it's adjudicated what you believe is true or false, necessary to prevent or terminate the other person's actual attempted trespass. So, actual, of course, they're trespassing. Attempted trespass? They haven't trespassed yet, but in your mind, they are attempting to. At the time, under a reasonable person standard. So at the time, under a reasonable person standard, they're attempting to trespass, so you can use deadly force against them under the enumerated reasons. Wow. And that is at the time, based on the circumstance you have at the time, immediate. And death is fatal. Deadly force is fatal. So even if it's later determined that you were wrong, you were dead wrong, in fact, that had you known a fact that didn't come up until after you've already executed this person, that you wouldn't have been justified. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's the facts you have at the time. So if you are politically canvassing, handing out a message, or spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they construe in their mind facts that at the time they can technically prove, at the time they believe that you were going to attempt to trespass. You hadn't trespassed, but you were attempting to, then they can execute you. And even if facts arise later, doesn't matter, even if you're not guilty. So, hand out religious material, they can kill you before you even step foot on the property. So, they can legally stand at the edge of their driveway. Now, this is technical, but that's how they win cases, based on technicality. They don't get to the facts. I know how they do that. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a doctor of jurisprudence. I have a law degree, been to their law school, sat in their law classes, listened to Judge Don Ass that's adjudicating the case right now in Knoxville, senior judge. I know how they do things. They do things based on technicalities, which means they don't get to the facts of the case. It's dismissed on a technicality before the truth ever gets litigated. And this is a technicality they put in the law. They'll kill you for spreading the gospel. They'll kill you for spreading a political message that's against them. That's what they'll do. They've made it a technicality. They don't have to get to the facts. They can stand at the edge of their driveway, technically. And that's what's going to measure how things are done, whether they go free or not. Whether it's technically legal, and it is. They just made it that way. If you don't think this is important, it doesn't matter if you're handing out material or not. You can be walking down the road. They can stand out at the edge of their driveway with a high-powered scope and shoot you away from the property before you're even close. And the further away they are, of course, the harder it gets to prove that they were attempting to. But technically, you could be pretty far away. It gets more harder, but the further they are, the closer they get, the easier it is to prove. But they don't have to be on your property. And you could be at the edge of it with a high-powered scope. They could kill you in Tennessee going on right now. And it is designed to quell spreading of the gospel. In my opinion, it's designed to dispel spreading of the gospel and spreading of a political message that's against them. That's what it is. Now, that's not conspiracy. That's just the truth. I know I've been doing that, and that's what they're writing the law about. Covers attempted trespass. Someone moving toward the line, not yet across it. That's what it covers. That's technical. You say that's technical, that's not going to matter. That's how they win cases, not on facts. Not on facts. They don't matter. They don't get litigated. We don't even get to whether or not you were legally attempting to trespass later. We don't get to that. That doesn't come up in the courtroom, and you're dead. What happens in the court is what they got written in the law. If a reasonable person could have interpreted that you were justified that they were attempting to trespass, the closer they get, the easier to prove. They don't have to be on your property. If a reasonable person, and get this, in their court, in front of their judge, that decides whether or not they're reasonable, that's promoted and benefited by their agenda, and you're not. Because a lot of them aren't Christian. They say they are to get political office in Tennessee, but they're not. I assure you they're not. How can people be Christian that pass laws to kill other people, to target political dissent? People that believe this world is all there is. I don't. So it covers attempted trespass, someone moving toward the line, not yet across it. And technically, the end of their driveway with a high-powered scope, you down the street, adjudicated reasonable by their judge at the time. Irrelevant later, it was proved that you were going to hand out political material at their house or to the next house, or that your card broke down and you were walking to a gas station, back to your car after you got a gas can. Irrelevant. If that is later determined to be the fact, it's what a reasonable person could determine at that time, determined by their judge and their rigged juries. That's a fact. It's very scary. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you, you should be scared to damn death. That's your government right now. Got a target on your back. And people saying I'm being mean and rude and I shouldn't stand up against this stuff. And I'm saying don't go shoot them. Don't do that. That is wrong. That's disgusting. I'm not behind that. No violence. No violence. Target them politically. Let's stand up against that kind of garbage. I don't care if it is somebody that says they're Christian. That's not Christian. I literally have Christian material laying on the ground in Chattanooga after they violently attacked me. It's a coming. So, let me let you see this. Covers attempt trespass. Someone moving toward the line, not yet across it. You don't have to be on their damn property. You don't have to be on their property. You have to have no intention. You can have no intention of being on their property. That's not necessary that you be on their property. It's not. Attempt covers attempt. Technically, I know that's a technicality. And that's what it's adjudicated at the time, not the facts that uncover later. You don't have time to prove that. You're dead right there, DRT. And could be they're not telling you the truth. They weren't really afraid of you. They just wanted to kill you. Gives license to kill to any rogue property owner. Stand at the edge of his driveway with a high-powered rifle. One rule left standing: don't shoot a back turned away. They can't shoot you in the back. They got to wait, get you in scope, turn around a little bit until they get to shoot you in the front. They shoot you in the back, it's a bad shoot. They can't get off on this technicality. They shoot you from a scope down the street where you don't even see them, and they can get it through their court out of that technicality. As long as they shoot you in the front, it's good. That's the only thing protect you, is that you walk backwards. Wherever you go, start walking backwards when you're going up to somebody's rogue house. I'm just saying. I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but it's true. That face you believe to be coming for your property, that's the outer edge of what the law allows. You got to be facing them. They got to believe, a reasonable person, that you're coming to trespass on their property to commit one of the enumerated offenses. You don't have to be committing it. You have to, in their mind, be construed to, adjudicated by their judge. That's what the law allows, based on technicality. That's how they win these cases, not based on the facts. You don't get there yet. You don't get to the facts yet. They wouldn't send a patrol car for a man with a gun at the door. They handed him a law instead to shoot you dead. That's the government cover-up. So let's look. And I covered some heavy stuff this morning. Let's look at some political stuff. Now, they want to shoot me dead in the head before I even go on their property. We're trying to spread the gospel. That's what they want to do. So let's look at, so demoralizing them is political. Way down the list. And I'm not a Baptist preacher, not a Catholic preacher, not a preacher in a church. I'm a political person with a JD, know how to do it. Abiding by the law. I do not promote intimate lawless action. I'm not defaming anybody, telling the truth about them. There's nothing unchristian about anything that I'm doing. Perfectly right in God's eyes, fighting evil. And politically, I'm going to demoralize them. That's in, turn over their tables. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can't handle it, turn off that little knob and ask somebody else to listen to it for you, because you need to know it might protect your life. Even if you don't like the medicine, you need to take it. Share this message, spread this message. You won't hear this stuff anywhere else. They can't say that I'm not educated. I'm very well educated. They try to demoralize me in other ways. None of it is true. Absolutely nothing you read on the internet is true that they've said about me, unless it's good. And very few good. I'm putting out some good that's truthful, but they lie, because they want to demoralize me. Don't listen to him. He's involved in a domestic dispute with his sister. That's a lie. That's a lie. One of my family members stole my mother's inheritance from me, and I never threatened or was dangerous to them or violent to them in any way, shape, or form. They're a part of a political party that's used the court system to lie about me. That's what happened. That's nothing to do with me being violent or dangerous to anyone at any time. They come after you when you come after them. They came after me, so I'm coming after them. And they came back after me, so I'm going back after them. It doesn't stop. That's what they don't understand. So, nobody's named, but we might name some of them just last. If any of these hit a little close to home for somebody in power in Tennessee, good. So what do you call a law school graduate who gets an A? A professor. What do you call one who gets a B? Rich. What do you call a law school graduate who gets a C? Your Honor. Yeah, they make him the judge. Or maybe a D minus. Good versus great. What's the difference between a good lawyer and a great lawyer? A good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge. Isn't that true? Lawyer versus judge. What's the difference between a lawyer and a judge? The difference between a lawyer and a judge. The judge knows the governor. Judge versus God. What's the difference between a federal judge and God? God doesn't think he's a federal judge. That's the difference. You're trapped in a room with a wolf, a rattlesnake, and a judge. Your gun only has 2 bullets. So you're trapped in this room as a wolf, a rattlesnake, and a judge. Your gun only has 2 bullets. So who do you shoot? You shoot the judge twice. What do you call 25 skydiving lawyers? 25 skydiving lawyers. You don't jump out, call them skeet. These are jokes. Don't shoot at lawyers parachuting. The onion. What's the difference between a lawyer and an onion? You cry when you cut up an onion. And you get the joke. So we'll go on. Thank y'all for joining. Man, almost over 200 people. Thank y'all. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Help me get this message out. So let's demoralize these creeps. What do you call a judge that rules for the government every time against citizenry? You call him paid off. What's the difference between a lawyer and a catfish? One's a scum-sucking bottom feeder, the other one is a fish. What do you throw to a drowning lawyer? You got a lawyer drowning, what do you throw to him? His partners. So they all drown. What's the difference between a sham and a pity? A shame and a pity. What's the difference between a shame and a pity? Busload of lawyers goes off a cliff. No survivors. That's a pity. If there were empty seats, that's a shame. Why don't sharks attack lawyers? Professional courtesy. Why are state lawyers the most determined people in the business? Why are state lawyers the most determined in the business? Because where there's a will, there's a way. The pearly gate. A lawyer dies and shows up at the pearly gates. St. Peter says, we've been waiting on you a long time. The lawyer says, I'm only 40. St. Peter checks the file. Based on your billing hours, you should be 90. Back to business. All right, and here's some more. Here's some more stuff about lawyers. What do you call a lawyer? What happens to a lawyer when they take Viagra? They grow taller. So you don't beat a judge or a board by being bigger or richer. You can't. They all have resources. You beat them by making it more costly to keep stonewalling you than just give you what you want. So let's look at what we covered earlier. If you're just joining us, we have Lamar Alexander out praising Lyon Lowell Russell, who lied and caused the fatality rate to skyrocket. In 2012, Tennessee recorded 1,014 highway deaths after they got rid of me. In 2011, 937. Approximately 1.5 deaths per million vehicle miles traveled, which was slightly higher than the national average at the time. So Lyon Lowell Russell took the leading drunk driver arrester off the road and the fatality rate skyrocketed. Tennessee's record 1,045 traffic fatalities in 2025, making a 14% decrease, but that's a decrease from the all-time high. So Lamar Alexander is out running down our president, praising Lyon Lowell Russell, and on the House floor. And Lowell Russell got people killed, got a name named after him. Urban areas, particularly Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, drove much of the statewide decline. In 2025, there was a decline in traffic fatalities, but that was from an all-time high. So traffic fatalities in Tennessee spiked by roughly 25% over the past decade. before entering a 2-year decline that hasn't nowhere reached the low that it was in 2025. Over 1,300 deaths statewide. Traffic deaths dropped by 14 to 548 in 2024 and saw an additional 11% drop to 489 deaths, highlighting recent improvements on the roads. So, Sergeant Lowell Russell, recognition in 2012. The Tennessee General Assembly, Sergeant Russell, in 2012, now that's when Lowell Russell got rid of me. The Tennessee General Assembly passed a resolution honoring Tennessee Highway Patrolman Sergeant Lowell Russell for his gallantry and community service following a severe on-duty interstate crash. U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander later expressed his personal appreciation for Russell's service during the event. So he was on the interstate and didn't protect himself, Sergeant Lowell Russell. Now he's the one responsible for roughly 25% spike in fatality rates. Lowell Russell. Because he got hit on the interstate, gallantry and community service. His community service got people killed. And Lamar Alexander praised him in 2012, Lamar Alexander praised Lowell Russell because he got himself hurt in a wreck. He had a wreck where he was partially at fault by not paying attention and got himself hurt on the interstate. And Lamar Alexander's out promoting a book, promoting Lowell Russell and running down the president. So, in his book, January 6th, The Peaceful Transfer of Power, Alexander asserts that Trump committed an impeachable offense by exhorting the crowd that stormed the Capitol and undermining the Constitution. He writes that Trump assaulted the hallowed practice of the peaceful transfer of power. That's Lamar Alexander. Hello. Yeah. Alexander argues there was absolutely no basis for Trump to claim the 2020 election was rigged or fraudulent, pointing to the 60 unsuccessful court cases as proof. So if a court says it, it's true. So Lamar Alexander is saying that Trump shouldn't be president. He's the president now, complaining about something he did years ago. And he is right now bragging on, he brags on Lowell Russell, who runs down our president. And in his memoir, he's out promoting his memoir, The Education of a Senator, and he's also a lawyer, JFK to Trump, former Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander offers a highly critical assessment of Donald Trump's actions. While he maintained a working relationship with Trump during his presidency, Alexander takes aim at Trump's behavior, particularly concerning the 2020 election and the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Key perspective Alexander shares in the book. So he's out right now today treasonously complaining about something happened years ago, saying our president shouldn't even be in office, undermining the United States of America. Lamar Alexander sticking his head up, selling his book, running down our president. Something happened a long time ago. That there was a peaceful transfer of power. So what he's talking about, I don't know. Trump left Washington. Has nothing to do with the 2024 election. He won election in 2024. So why are you bringing that up? Because he wants to say it's an illegitimate election. So he's saying that Trump shouldn't even be president because he was impeached. He wouldn't be president again. So, I mean, this guy's just a nut. So he brags on Lionel Russell, runs down the president, and let's look at his judgment. Look, now Lamar Alexander has subjected himself to public criticism. So I'm not doing anything unethical, immoral, unchristian, or anything like that at all. I'm not doing any of that. Now, people think if you speak the truth and it happens to be look bad on people that you're not a Christian. That's not true. That's not true at all. If you stick your head up and try to affect power and the way Americans live their lives and the way we appear to foreign countries, I've got a God-given right to criticize you and point out who you are. Target the target. He's targeting America violently in what I believe is close to treasonous book that he's putting out his trash, making money off of. Got a street named after him. Worry about his legacy. Don't want anybody talking bad about him. How dare you talk about him? If you go pass out political material in Maryville, they may shoot you alleging you're trespassing. I'm just saying. Hello. So I'm not doing anything unchristian, illegal, immoral. Now, this isn't pretty stuff. War is not pretty. Political war is not pretty. I hate it. God calls people to throw the rock and to politically take people down. That's my lane. That's what I do. I'm not, there's no holds barred in this. Don't stick your head up and get on TV, try to make money and sell a book and run down America. So he's selling a book, run down the president, talking about January 6th. Those January 6th people, thank you. People who went to Washington, God bless you. You say, oh man, that's wicked for you to say that. Those people were violent and dangerous. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. That's absolutely positively a dirty damn lie. That they want to sell the American people don't ever raise up a flag and disagree with the establishment. I will. I got a right to do it. You have no damn right to stop me. You better not. That's what the Second Amendment is for. I believe in it. Now, I'm not violent or dangerous. You try to hurt me, you'll have a bad day, let me assure you. People think I'm a toy. Get the real data. I'm not a toy at all. I have to be very careful what I say. I don't believe in violence. I believe in self-defense, 100%. If you don't defend yourself and your family, you're a dirty coward. I'm not talking about creating violence like Chad the Builder. I'm talking about when you try to leave and they won't let you. Maybe they're the one that don't need to go home. When you're trying to leave and they won't let you. I'm just saying. Let me be. Let me speak. I'll fight for that right. So, God bless the January 6th protesters for the most part. You have a right to disagree with the government. Lamar Alexander is on television, got a huge audience saying, no, you don't. You're wicked if you do. You don't believe in the peaceful transfer of power. No, he don't believe in the peaceful transfer of power. He don't believe in dissent. And I'm not asking your permission, Mr. Creep Lamar Alexander. I'm telling you, you're a dirty creep. Let's put a target on him. Investigators removed half a dozen bags and computers from Larskin's home, News 4 Washington. Chris Gordon reported. Larskin, 35, was taken into custody Wednesday afternoon, Gordon reported. He is charged with possessing and distributing child pornography. He is expected in federal court in D.C. Thursday. Now, Mr. Larskin was Lamar Alexander's chief political advisor, helping him get elected to public office so that he could put out hate speech about dissenters. Dissenters are great, wonderful, makes America great. Thank you, January 6th protesters. You're great, godly people. The courts will judge Mr. Lunson's guilt or innocence, but he committed suicide. So they didn't. But under these circumstances, he cannot continue to fill his duties as chief of his staff of this office. So he was chief of staff of Lamar Alexander's office. So he's a great judge of character and a great judge of how we should run America when he had a child pedophile, his top in command. I mean, did he write a chapter on that in his book? He's out criticizing America on a world stage. Therefore, as today, I've removed him from his payroll. Yeah. Oh, he did the great thing of removing a pedophile that he didn't know about. He was shocked. He should have known. Senator Lamar Alexander, he stuck his head up. I'm just telling you the truth about Lamar. Feel sorry for me about got hit by a truck. Senator Lamar Alexander placed as chief of staff after learning of a child pornography investigator at the AIDS home. So he's a real brilliant man. After the fact, he gets rid of him. Why didn't he know before? Did he not do any investigation? We're not talking about somebody low in his staff. We're talking about his chief of staff. The United States Senate Legal Counsel Office informed Alexander Wednesday morning that law enforcement agents were searching Ryan Lawson's home in a child pornography investigation. Did you write a chapter on that in your book? Or are you worried about peaceful dissenters, Lamar? They're not asking him that question when he's on all these news shows going around making money selling a book. Let's spread this out. Hey, Lamar, ask him. Somebody ask him if you see him. Hey, Lamar, did you know about Ryan Lawson's child pornography? Why did you have him chief of staff? Did you not do any investigation on him? Are you a good judge of character? I don't think so. Lamar said, I'm stunned, surprised, and disappointed by what I've learned. Read a statement from Alexander R., Tennessee. Surprised, disappointed. You shouldn't have been surprised. You hired the man. Did you not do a background investigation? Did you not get any inclination about some of the things he said while you were talking in general conversation? He was your chief of staff. You had to be around him a lot. Nothing came out that shocked you? It probably did. You just didn't call it out, did you? Disappointed. I'd be kind of damn angry as hell. Somebody doing that kind of stuff. You know what people think about child pornographers? Lamar Alexander, you want to stick your head up? Go against peaceful dissenters. I mean, these people are peaceful dissenters. They weren't involved in child pornography. They disagreed with you. And you want to say that they suppressed the peaceful transfer of power. No, they didn't. You facilitated by proxy the transfer of child pornography. Surprised or not, you were paying him. You should have known. You knew or should have known. Maybe you didn't, but you should have. Postal inspectors knocked in the door of a home in the 1800 block of Birch Street Wednesday morning, the U.S. Postal Service, and they were knocking on Lamar Alexander's chief of staff. He don't want to talk about that. I will. I will talk about the president. I wouldn't care if it was Joe Biden. Don't go against this country and call dissent stopping the peaceful transfer of power. So we've covered that, and also bragging on people like Lionel Russell, who is not a good character, caused hundreds of people to get killed. And so thank you all so very much for joining us tomorrow, or the wind's blowing us over, tomorrow or the next day. Let's get 100 likes on here. We may cover information about political warfare, about how we're going to get this thing done. We got 93 likes. Let's get some more likes, get it up to over 100. Political truth. It's not pretty, but it's real. It's the truth. Somebody's got to do it. And a lot of people appreciate that. Thank you all. God bless you all. The mass millions of Tennesseans that far outnumber these dirtbags that want us to think they're great, that think they're better than us. They're not better than us. They're worse than criminals that they put in jail because they have sworn to uphold the Constitution, and they're upholding their own illegitimate power. Lying to Tennesseans and mistreating people in this state. So we got 95, let's get 100. It is synagogue killing, machine poisoning, the air, food, and water, and the drug prescriptions are poisoned with aging accelerants, and a whole lot worse, the RX Society, Black Magic Witchcraft RC. Okay, yeah. CS try to jackass. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're reading comments if you want to comment. 97, almost 100. Says, oh no, a typo, you must feel like a genius, LOL. Okay. If I have a typo, I'm not. Bishop Lucifer 325 AD started the whole Jesus equal God thing. Christianity was originally called Luciferism. Oh, that's false. Deception. Jesus Christ is Lord, He's my Savior. I'm going to heaven not because of any of my goodness, because I've accepted the Lord Jesus Christ in my heart. I invite you to do that, and that's not true. Let's see here. God is phony. Fairy tales, you know that in your heart. I don't know that. I know the exact opposite. Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. You can't deny the glory, organization, and beauty that God has made the earth. The Big Bang didn't create this. You're worshiping the Zionist. I'm Zionist. Nothing wrong with that. I believe in that just simply means that we believe that the nation of Israel has the right to a sovereign country, the right to exist. I believe that. It's not shameful to say. President Trump making deportation great again. That's right. I believe that's right. Regina W6K, absolutely. Make deportation great again. I agree with that. American birth certificate means something, unless it's from your parents that came over here illegally, and then it shouldn't mean the same thing. Your birth certificate and your parents' American birth certificate ought to mean something, because they're coming over here having kids. Your whole Christian belief system comes from Bishop Lucifer. That's not true. Zionists are far right, Ithico supremacists, just like the Nazis. That's not true. So if you want me to read your anti-Christian views or anti-Israel views, then you're going to have to pay for it, or I'm not going to read your comment. You want me to read your comment? Pay for it. Birth certificate equals slavery. No, it doesn't. So let's read some of the first ones. 96 likes. Let's get up to 100. Israel has taken over our country by buying off all politicians. That's not true. That's not true. That's an anti-Semitic view. That's something Hitler would have said. Kamala is the best. No, she's not. She drove around on a bus advertising for demonic worship and sacrificing innocent children to devils. No, she's not. She's a very wicked person. Yeah. Criminal Leo wants to blame everyone else but himself for his crimes. Well, they haven't got me locked down for anything yet, have they? Maybe it's because I know how to talk to the public and you don't. Release Epstein. He's dead. Trump 2028. Hey, you know, if they change the Constitution, I'll go along with that. I think he's the best possible that we have got at this time in history. I voted for him, and I would vote for him again, because he says what he thinks regardless of opposition. You don't get that much, very much. People have learned to be politicians and lie about stuff. I respect people if they tell what they think, even if they're wrong. At least they're brave enough to say it. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. That's right, happy Juneteenth. I agree with that. That message was attractive. Israel for Trump 2028. That's right. So only thug get you respect seriously. Listen, foreigner, nobody cares about Kamala. Kamala, not the president. That's right. Absolutely. So we got 98. Let's get 100 likes. Israel for Trump 2028. They all give all your money to Israel. No, that's not true. I have TDS. If I don't know Jesus, I wouldn't know the devil. That's right. Israel for Trump. Israel owns you. No, they don't. No, they don't. Power in the White House. There's not Nazis in it. Israel is for Trump. So she has to get you in a headlock to get your vote. Israel for Trump. Trump for Israel, first America last. No, that's not true. America first. So we got 99 views and 98 likes. And let's get some subscribes. Subscribe to the channel. Helps get the algorithm out. Helps get the anti-establishment message out. Helps get the message out to millions more than are in the anti-establishment. That's what they're afraid of. We outnumber them by far. And we can do them some political damage where they want to kill us. So let's look and see if Trump puts Israel first. That's not true. That's not true at all. Christianity is literally Luciferism. Release Epstein files. Okay. So somebody give a contribution. We'll read your message. If not, we're not reading the crooked messages. Hello, my American friend. God bless you. Thank you. Barbary Rambro 3303, thank you very much. So we got 98 likes. Let's get 2 more. Jesus is Lord, that's right. And let's see if we got any more. VP Harris was by far the better choice. I don't agree with that. Absolutely not. We got 1 more like, and thank you all. We've been on here 2 hours. We'll try to be back on here either tomorrow or Wednesday, or if news comes on immediately, we'll show it live on the scene, wherever it happens. Carset has sent 1,000. I wish. Kamala was the best choice by 1,000 times. She rode around on a bus that advertised demonic worship, the sacrifice of the most innocent, unborn children to devils. That's not the best. That's demonic. That's evil. Christians hate their own history, and the fact it comes from Bishop Lucifer, well, you're self-deceived. You're deceiving yourself. So we got 1 more like, and we'll get off the channel. Let's get a few more. We've got 99 likes. Let's get 100. Nasty ass boomer. Well, some of them don't have a lot of sense. And you know, I was born in 1964, so I'm not technically considered a baby boomer, I don't think. Trump is a con man, liar, PDF who only cares about his wallet, not yours. He's got enough money. I don't think that's what he cares about. 100 likes. Thank y'all so very much. We met the mark. And God bless y'all. We'll try to be back on here with some more news that doesn't represent the establishment. Doesn't represent people in power. I'm pro-government, anti-people in power right now. And we're gonna smash them, demoralize them, tell the truth about them. Share this channel. God bless you all. Nothing wrong with spreading the truth, the gospel. God bless y'all. And remember, God loves you, and I do too. Pray for my friend, Marty Nix. He needs prayer. He's got an illness. Pray for him that God will heal him. And remember that, and that's not the reason why I'm doing that, that God changed the bad in Job's life when he prayed for his friends. So pray for your friends. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank y'all. God loves you, and I do too.